What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the Perfect Fusion Cesium, or FansToys' version of a masterpiece scale slag. So this is the second version of slag that FansToys put out. They put it under the Perfect Fusion line, which supposedly there was going to be other figures under there, but they never released them. I think their version of Cyclonus was going to be there originally, and then they changed it. So this is really the only figure they put under that title. And it was an alternative to the Scoria, their other version. I'll bring that in later for comparison. I got this from Nick the Toy Guy. Thanks for sending this out so quickly. If you're interested, you can use my coupon code in the description to get a discount on your order and free shipping. But let's take a look at this guy. He does have a little bit of paint, which is different than the original. I will say during the unboxing I was a little bit disappointed, mainly because of this piece here. It's a little bit on the loose side for my taste, especially this. This pops out. So yeah, this hasn't really been improved, this whole part. But the rest of it is fine. The rest of it feels okay. It feels nice and tight. Plastic is good quality. It's just this back piece right here that has always bugged me on this. The tails will tab in to the bottom of the legs. You just got to push them in firmly. Now, it might scratch up the chrome here. So what you may want to do is put some paper in between just to prevent it from getting scratched up. That's what I tend to do. It might be a little ugly to have, a piece of paper in there, but better than scratching your chrome paint. So you can just have something like that. You can hide it in a little bit better than I did, but I do recommend that just because this tab is going into the plastic, and eventually rubbing that chrome will wear on the figure. Let's just get this in here. There we go. So we can get those plugged in, but let's take a look. This guy, compared to the original release, does have slightly more paint, a very, very small amount. So this chest piece does now have a finish on it. It's not glossy red, I wish it was, but it's more like a flat finish. So all the arms, the crotch, and the chest, all that red you see is paint. The rest of it you see, the gunmetal, the silver, the blue, that was on the original. So that is the same. I can't tell if the head has a finish. It looks like it does have a red finish. But again, not glossy, just a kind of a matte finish. But other than that, all the rest of the paint you see is basically the same as the original. The silver, the green, the painted pieces underneath these translucent pieces, these on the sides, the chrome parts, that's all the same as the original. I think it does look good. It's just a couple of spots that feel cheap, especially this, this backpack here. Nice shiny gold and silver chrome all throughout. Let's go over the articulation on this guy. The head is on this little die-cast piece. You can rotate that piece, and then you can rotate the head with it, or you can just rotate the head independently. But it helps to get a little bit more range if you do rotate that die-cast piece. Continuing down, we have rotation at the shoulders. I'll go out to the side. It kind of collides with this wing, so you just get that out of the way. It goes up to there on a hinge, a ratchet. Not a hinge. Rotation at the bicep on a cut joint. 90-degree bend at the elbow. Rotation at the wrist. Individually articulated fingers. You're using the old style kind of block fingers, which is fine. I like them. Thumb is on a ball joint, and does it have a hinge? No, just a ball joint. So you can rotate that around. And I do like the way that they do these hands. You have a waist rotation on a ratchet. Gets you up to there. Ab crunch gets you down to there. Let me get this. Coming down to the waist, we have hip skirts here. And like I mentioned, these are now painted. Legs will kick up to here, not very far, just due to the way it's sculpted. Back to here, again, this blocks it. And then out to the side, up to there. And it does hold, nice tight joint there. Rotation at the thigh at a universal. We have a 90-degree bend at the knee. The legs are pretty heavy. There is some die-cast and some chrome down here, specifically the toe. Toe can tilt up to there and back to there, and forward and backward on this hinge. All right, now let's take a look at the accessories. And it does come with quite a bit of stuff. So first we get alternate thigh and knee pieces. Looks like this, done in black plastic with a little green paint there. If you put those together, here's what it looks like. I'm not going to install this because you had to take apart the entire leg. But here's what it looks like if you were to swap it out. Me personally, I don't need it, but you do have that option. We also get an alternate head. It looks like this. Now, the more cartoon accurate is to have the red head, blue eyes, and the red face. So it's a little tricky to get this off. Now, at first I thought you had to rotate it, but actually what you do is you come to the back here, you're going to pull off this little panel, and this is also how you swap the eyes of the dino. So if you want, you can pop this out. It's a little tricky again to get this out, but you can pry that off and you can install the new eyes. And then we're going to come back to here. On the back of this, there's a little spot to unscrew it. So you're going to unscrew this head. Do not lose the screw in there. Hopefully you have a magnetic screwdriver. It's a little tricky, but go ahead and detach the front and then grab this, trying not to lose the screw, and take that out. Then take the black one, and I'm not going to put the black head on there. I really just want to swap. So go ahead and push the face out, detach the red eyes. Then we can take the other one, pop that off, and now we're going to attach eyes to here, and we can reassemble. So once you have this, that's the look we want. We can put this back on the front. Now we've got the more accurate head, and I like that. So I'm probably going to just set the other one aside. I don't think we need it, but nice to have the option to have the black parts, the black legs, and the black head if you want to do that. All right, we also get the blaster done in this silver with translucent. This does have a light up feature. I'm not going to put the batteries in, but it does have a light up feature just like the original did. This will tab into the hand. You can get the actual pointer finger through the trigger guard, so that's kind of cool. You can actually pretend he's holding the trigger. It's a little tricky to get it, but a little patience, you can get this tabbed in, and now you can be holding it properly, which is nice. You know, good looking gun. We also get his sword done in this metallic red with translucent. This also has a let up feature, which I'm not gonna put the batteries in, but you can. And we can just tab that in, and he holds that just fine. Good looking sword and gun, in my opinion. And we do get alternate horns here if you want the red horns. I'm gonna look at that in vehicle mode, but it does, or the vehicle mode, the dyno mode, but it does require moving a screw. So if you want to swap these out, you do have to take out 2 screws here. So actually, maybe I won't take these out, but here's how they look in robot mode. Nice little option part there as well. And for comparison, there it is next to the FansToys Scoria, their first version of Slag. And then here's the Scoria X version, the painted version of, and he never really held a sword well. So I'm just gonna set that aside. I still think after all this time, Scoria X, this version, looks the best. You know, just has all that paint, nice shiny silver paint. And just overall, I just like the look of it. Here it is with the grinder, their version of Grimlock. And He fits in a lot better with the rest of the Dynamots. This guy always came in a little bit short. This guy is basically the same height, so it kind of works better with the FansToys set. Now, obviously not the X version because it's not painted, but with the regular versions, I think this one does work better. All right, now let's get this guy transformed into Dyna mode. And I did look back, and I never did a review with the transformation. I just did a comparison. So we are going to do the full transformation. I did look on the internet, and there aren't many videos of this guy transforming. MGO doesn't have one. I did find one from, believe it or not, Bobby. So I actually watched his video. I couldn't find a good transformation video. So I'm going to make one here. So let's get going. Go ahead and fold the arms up. Open up this panel. Make sure the fingers are flat, otherwise you'll have trouble. So get this folded in and tab that in. Same on this one. Bring this up, fold that over. Make sure the fingers are flat. And leave that like that. We can take care of this head, so we're going to rotate this around. This panel's a little tricky. You got to clear the back piece there. It does kind of collide with that. I don't like that. But get the head, rotate it so it's sitting like that. Then you can open up the mouth, or I guess close the mouth, and that just looks like that. We're going to take these shoulders. You're going to rotate this up and rotate this down, the red piece, until you have these facing forward, the little screw holes there. So same on this one, rotate this up, and rotate the red panel down until you get that facing forward. So that's how we should be looking. Bring the head down, that's just going to slide down here, now that we got those arm pieces out of the way. Open this up, and get the mane kind of settled in. So it should look like this. All right, come to the back here. We can straighten up his ab crunch if you have a crunch. Lift this up. Come to here, you're gonna fold these out from inside of here. These will come down, and on this copy, I noticed that this has to work its way around here. And this is one of the fitment issues with this figure. This has to come out in order to sit flat. So you got to get this around, and it's tricky. There we go, I got it. But you have to get this ridge over the edge, and sometimes it just doesn't want to go. I don't like that. That's the kind of stuff they should have fixed. Same for this one. Bring this down. Make sure that ridge gets over the edge, and you're kind of bending the plastic past it. I just don't, that's why I don't like it. But go to the bottom, you can tab these together. Just leave these open for now, but tab these together and straighten these up. Well, they'll probably move on you, so just leave them out of the way for now. But so we've got the kind of the top part done. Fold that back down. Actually, leave this up. So we're going to come to the legs and come to the back here, open up this panel. We're going to fold out the tail. You can just I put the paper in there to protect it, but set that aside. Fold the tail out. Come to the inside of the leg. We're going to fold out this dino leg. Fold up this heel. Then we're going to rotate here at the knee joint. Then we're going to collapse this down. You got to bend the knee. That'll allow you to go past there. And then bend it back. And make sure this is straight. It should go straight in like that. Bring this tail section up. This will tab back into here. And this tail should sit right on the back of here. Just like that. I do have this panel doesn't sit perfectly flush, unfortunately. It kind of pops out. And when you come down to the bottom here, before we get here, fold this down, and that should tab in right here. It will probably pop out again, but you do want those tucked in to the side of the legs. So go ahead and do this other one. I'll do it off camera. Right now that both legs transformed, we can start tabbing things together. Come to the bottom, just check. Make sure these two little pegs are into the sides here. it may come out, but we're going to peg the legs together on the top. And the top is a priority. You don't really have to wear the bottom right now. Make sure all that tabs together. Those pegs are still in there. Make sure your tail tabs together. Just line everything up. And give that a squeeze. You want this as flush as possible. You might end up with a gap down here. That's okay. If you try to squeeze this together, you're going to pop the top part apart, so don't do that. All right, make sure this is all as close together as possible. Next, you're going to take this panel, fold this over, fold this out. This is very loose, and it comes off the little peg, unfortunately. But this has to work its way under here. It does not feel good, but it has to fold so that it gets underneath there. And then you're going to peg it in on the side here. There's a little tab. And you can see this came out already. But this is going to peg into the back. I don't like how this feels. It just doesn't feel like it's supposed to go, but this has to work its way under this panel. There we go. I got it now. Once you get that under there, then things tab in a little bit better. And then on the back here, get those in. Yeah, it's not, the fitment is off on this one. And this was a complaint I had with the first one too. You know, these panels just don't want to line up. All right, I think I got it all without popping out. It's unfortunate that it pops out so easily. Come to the back here, open up this panel, fold out the foot, straighten up the toe, fold out the toe, close up that panel. So you can have something like that. And same thing on this side, open this up, flip this out. By the way, this feels thin, so just be careful. All right, there is Cesium in dyno mode. And I do think the head and the mane looks good. It's kind of wide in the back. I guess that's the point, right? To be more potato shaped, but it just looks a little awkward from the back. I can't get things to peg in perfectly. You know, if you come to the bottom and you push this together, it then pops this off. I think you want the top together, so I'm going to leave that, but that's not a perfect fit. You know, these should really be tucked away in there. Nice gold chrome tail and back. Nice gold chrome here in the legs. You get that nice detail on the sides there. Nice chrome for here. Overall, pretty good looking. Let's go over the articulation. Head can rotate side to side. You have a little bit of side to side this way and a rotation. The mouth can open up, obviously. The head is in there. That is, I guess, cartoon accurate. We can close that up. I do recommend a cloth to just kind of wipe off the fingerprints from the chrome, just because it really does stand out. Shoulders can rotate. They can go in and out on a ball joint. Rotation at the thigh and a bend at the elbow. You can't get him into kind of a walking pose, although it's a little bit limited outwards. You know, it goes just about to there. You can tilt the toe up and down a little bit. Rear leg is on a ball joint. It sticks out pretty far. You know, I'm not a huge fan of how they did that, but you get butterfly, forward and backward, bend at the elbow, back and forth, a couple clicks, bend at the ankle, and bend at the toe. So you can get this back a little bit. And for the tail, we have articulation just here at the back. And this thing came out. Yeah, and because it doesn't tab in perfectly, you know, sometimes it does pop out. You can kind of get it back in there, but it's a pain to get this in there. And for accessories, I did mention you can swap out the eyes here. And I recommend a spudger just to get this pried up. But you can swap this out for the blue. You can also swap out, if you prefer, the red horns. You do have to unscrew this whole thing. It's a lot to do, so I'm not going to do it here. But you can unscrew those and then swap these in just to show you. Here's what it looks like. And for a size comparison, there it is next to the Magic Square version of Optimus Prime, and you can see he towers over him. Nice big Dinobot for MP scale. And for a size comparison, there it is next to the FansToys Grinder, their version of Grimlock, and the FansToys Scoria, the first version of Slag. And I think this is the reason why they put this out. You know, this one fits in a lot better size-wise with the rest of the Dinobots. Aesthetically, I think both work okay. You know, they're both fine. But size, I think this one is definitely a little bit closer. So final recommendations on the Perfect Fusion Cesium. I don't know. This is still a mixed bag for me. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5 partial recommendation. And the reason is they still haven't fixed the issue with the backpack. In Dino mode, things just don't lock together, especially that little back piece that sits on top. As well as the overall fit and finish of this just feels a little cheap for FansToys. Now, if you didn't know, this was meant to be a budget line, right? They started this as a budget version. So this was actually cheaper than the Scoria, and it was actually cheaper than a lot of the FansToys because they were trying to do a budget line. Now, this is the same price as other FansToys figures. So it really doesn't make any sense anymore, you know, being the same price. It's a budget figure at the regular price. So that's why it gets a partial recommendation. However, if you don't own a Masterpiece version of Slag, I think you might want to pick this up just because it's a pretty good version, good looking. But if you have Scoria or you have Gigapower, I don't think this is necessary. I really think it's just not the best version out there. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Nick the Toy Guy for sending this out, and we'll see you next time.